What is up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Blackblade, and welcome back to Vlog Part 3 of our Witch Raging Spirit build. Now, as you can see in the video above, we have progressed into the game by, of course, killing Brutus in the Merciless Difficulty. Now, believe it or not, I was able to kill Brutus at about 15 seconds or so. It's really amazing, you know, considering that I never really, I was actually nervous and a bit surprised that our minions were able to take him down that fast. As you can see there, I've already pre-casted some Raging Spirits even before seeing him on the screen, and you know. After that, you know, I was really surprised that the minions were able to automatically, or you know, reduce his life so significantly fast. Even before I casted the, as you can see there, even before I casted the totem, so that I could summon some more skeletons. So overall, he was pretty easy, but then you have to take care because he has this long range attack that I never actually noticed until now. As you can see there, I was really behind all of my minions, but then he had this splash damage, or a short range attack that that almost halved my life. So of course, with that said, let's get into Merveil. Alright, so when it came to Merveil, she wasn't really that difficult. As you can see there, our minions have been charging in and they've been taking almost all of her hits. Although some of her ice spear were directed to us, you know, it wasn't really doing that much of a damage. Thanks of course to our resistance. And of course, when it came to her second form, it really didn't. She didn't really pose that much of an issue to our build. As you can see there, pretty fast, pretty easy. We were able to take him down at about 35 seconds or so. Very fast, very easy, and you know, still I was surprised. She wasn't able to kill a single minion, whether it was the zombie or one of the skeletons. No, wait, scratch that. I think she was able to kill at least 2 or 3 of our skeletons, but nevertheless, as long as our spell totem was there, it kept resummoning the skeletons nonetheless. So overall, pretty easy, pretty straightforward. If you guys have been following this build, you guys will be able to face roll Merveil like you see in my video. And of course, with that said, let's get into our the three bandits. Now, as you can see in the video above, that is Alira. Now, when it came to Alira, she was basically a face roll. She wasn't really that hard. As you can see, I immediately summoned the spell totem so that it could continue to summon skeletons simultaneously. While one skeleton died, it will continue to resummon skeletons until it will be able to, of course, max out the total skeletons that we could summon, which is 12. Pretty easy, you know. She didn't really pose that much of a problem. I opted to stay in the middle, you know, just for my minions not to go too far away from me. You know, some minions were attacking her minions, some of our minions were attacking her directly, and you know, it was pretty easy, and it was pretty much a really one of the most entertaining fights, you know, in my opinion. And of course, with that said, let's get into Crichton. Now, when it came to Crichton, he was a little bit difficult simply because of his Flicker Strike. He wasn't really that much concentrated on our minions. He was actually going for us every now and then, so I had to move from one point to another, just of course to get away from him, and for our minions to be able to, you know, go to him at the same time. But then when all of his minions were dead, you know, all of our minions were dedicated into him. All of their attentions were onto him, and you know, pretty much he died really fast. So yeah, nothing much to say about that. He wasn't really that hard, although his flicker strike could pose a small problem. But thanks of course to our life pool, which is already at 2,400, we were able to take some of his hits quite well without dying. Now, of course, with that said, let's get into one of the strongest of all the three, or if not the most strongest of all the three, Oak. Now, when it came to Oak, he was actually the longest of all the boss fights, simply because of the intense or a lot of life that he has, the exorbitant amount of life pool that Oak has. Now, as you can see there, I was really moving back and forth simply because he was leap slamming into me instead of concentrating on my minions. So it's a pretty good AI actually that the developers of Path of Exile did with most of these bosses, because instead of just the boss focusing on the minions, he was also focused on your character as well. So the AI is very diversified. He was able to kill some of my minions. I think he was able to kill 4 or 3 of the zombies and most of the skeletons with that matter. As you can see, I kept on resummoning the spell totem because every time he leaps into a pack of our minions, most of the skeletons will die, if not 1 or 2 zombies will simply because Oak has one of the largest or huge damage dealing boss in this game. So but pretty much we didn't die. He wasn't a face roll, but the build could withstand his blows. Make sure that you have a ton of life. As you can see there, when I was fighting Oak, our effective life pool was already at 2,500, so we will not die with a couple of hits from him, which is really good. Now, of course, with that said, let's get into Vaal. Alright, so as you can see in the video above, yeah, so that is Vaal. Pretty much we've been able to kill him at about a minute or so. Now he really wasn't that difficult, simply because he lacked some AOE attack, except for that thing wherein the rocks would fall from above. But aside from that, we can take that much of a damage when it comes to that attack. As you can see there, our minions are doing spectacular. They weren't really dying, and they were just all around him, especially of course our raging spirit summons. Yeah, so there's nothing much to say here. He wasn't really that difficult, and he posed little to no threat at all. The only thing that I could probably say regarding this fight is you have to be careful with his hammer attack, wherein he would raise his hands, and he will just plummet you with one blow. But then of course, since we are a summoner type, we won't be getting close to him anytime soon. So of course, with that said, pretty easy boss. You guys are going to be able to face roll him like I did. Of course, yeah, with that said, let's get into our skill tree and build proper. Alright, so we have progressed a lot since our last vlog. As you can see here, as promised, I have taken as much life as I can, taking almost all of the, no, not almost, taking all of the life nodes from the Scion skill tree over here. And then of course, taking some burning damage nodes over here, and of course, taking Holy Fire. That is because we would like to capitalize on the staff that we have, the Searing Touch, which of course gives us a 70% increased burning damage. Added, that will of course complement for the Summon Raging Spirit, simply because that the skill gem is of course a fire, a spell, and a minion type. So that means it will benefit from any fire skill that you take, and of course from all the minion skill nodes that we have taken. And yeah, so I'm going to capitalize on that on my next succeeding levels. I'm going to be taking the Holy Fire skill node over here, and then probably some more fire damage nodes over here, and then some more increased damage nodes over here, and then probably ending with Immolation. Although I am also thinking of taking this route, taking some more cast speed, because in my situation now, I can only summon at least 6 or 7 raging spirits at one time, or at any given time. So yeah, after I get all of those nodes, if I still progress further into the game, of course I will be getting some more life. Or if not the life, because, you know, I don't really die that often anymore. So I think 2,500 or maybe 2,600 will be already a good number, or a good number for our life pool. So maybe, yeah, maybe I'm going to take some more spell damage over here, and probably some more cast speed. But that remains to be that will remain to be seen, of course. Now let's go to our gear. Of course, we are using the Searing Touch staff. Attached to our Raging Spirit is, of course, increased burning damage, elemental prolif, chance to ignite, and increased duration. Now I chose the burning damage path just for our Raging Spirit to have an AoE effect, because at the current state of the skill gem, it really does not have any AoE. So, you know, adding some increased burning damage and elemental prolif would give it some advantage in, you know, doing some degenerative effects on some group of mobs. And of course, I didn't really change any of my gear. As you can see, the helmet is still pretty crappy. I'm still grinding the trade auction channel for a better energy shield based helm, or if I could get lucky. Ideally, what you'd really want there is some life and at least 2 resistances. Now, what is attached to our zombie is minion speed, minion life, and minion damage. Our what do you call this? Our armor is really not that good, as you can see there. Although it is a trifecta, instead of maximum mana, I would have liked, or I would have loved to have an additional life there. So you guys may want to change that. And of course, we are using the Seed Breath. I don't know how to pronounce that, but of course that is a minion amulet, which gives minions increased maximum life, movement speed, and increased damage at an 11%. And of course, adding some 28% mana regeneration rate, which is good, and some cold resistance. Because as you can see, almost all of my amulets and rings have an increased mana regeneration rate. Because the mana cost of the raised zombie when they die is a lot. As you can see, that is 135. And of course, the curse is at 97. So it's pretty mana consuming. So we need a lot of mana regeneration as much as possible. Now, as you can see on my ring, it's a pretty bad ring, although it has a 26 life to there. I really chose this because of the mana regeneration rate. And of course, we have 2 resistances, which maxes out our cold resistance. Then of course, on the other one, it has a really low, bad roll of life, only 21, but it has a 31% to our maximum mana. And of course, it has a 45% increased mana regeneration. You know, that's why I like this. Added to that, of course, the plus 30 to our lightning resistance, and plus 16 to our fire resistance. Now our belt is a life belt. As you can see, 82 plus 36. That is a high roll for a life, and of course having 2 resistances there, cold and fire. And for my gloves, the gloves sucks, although it has 2 resistances there, and a very good roll of life. The only bad aspect to this gloves is of course the very low roll of our resistances, which is of course only 19 and 12. Very low. You guys should be able to, you know, change this into on the 20-ish. You'd really want at least 25 resistance to any element, and you need to have 2. And of course, for our what do you call this? For our boots, of course, increased life 69 and 2 resistances, and of course a 25% increased movement speed. And what is of course attached to our summoned skeletons is spell totem, minion life, and minion speed, because they move really slow. Now, as far as flask goes, I already have my end game flasks here. The first one has immunity to curses. The other one has a really high, you know, life recovery for that burst life recovery, just in case we get we receive a burst damage, which you know, will half our life. And then on the other one, it has a remove bleeding node there, and of course I also have another remove bleeding for the what do you call this, for the Quicksilver Flask, and the other one is of course mana, which dispels frozen and chill effects. Now let's get into our level. Our level is at 62, and what else? Our life is at 2,500 effectively, and we have an energy shield of 437. Now I didn't really choose to go with Eldritch. Where is it? With Eldritch Battery, simply because I think I like the 437 shield that we have. That is of course to mitigate some damage before it actually gets to our life. Alright, so nothing more to say. Our when it comes to our defenses, hold on, let's get out first and let us you know, activate our auras. And yeah, I'm really enjoying this build so far. You know, I'm really surprised that the minions can take a lot of damage and deal a lot of damage at the same time. So hold on, the screen is still loading. You know, I think I should breathe in between my every time I talk, because I really find it, you know, I kind of lack my breath or something like that. I am stuttering. I hate it. All right, okay, here we go. All right, when it comes to our resistances, what is there is we only have 32% to our fire resistance, but then that is okay, just as long as we don't get hit by any fire elemental attacks. But our cold and lightning resistance are good because we have maxed them out at 75% each, and of course we are not doing very good with our chaos resistance, which is only at 48%. Now I don't really want to discuss about armor and all of that evasion, because ideally we are a summoner build and we do not get close to our two monster packs. Alright, so with that said, let's get into some juicy gameplay. Alright, so the technique is generally you need to summon the spell totem first to release some skeletons, and then while the skeletons are doing the fight, or if the totem dies, we summon the skeletons and then summon some more zombies, because the real damage dealers here will be the zombies, and the skeletons will just be, you know, meat shields. And then the next step would be, you know, casting some flammability, and then of course casting some raging spirits. So as you can see there, you know, the skeletons and the, what do you call this, the zombies are doing quite a good deal of damage. And yeah, so they really don't die that easily, just as long as you summon them in groups or in packs. They will die if they, you know, they wander around, you know, without their without their fellow or what I mean is if they get singled out. God, really, it's really hard to talk while playing. So yeah, so we've got a lag there. So we've got a good chunk of mobs here. Some of our zombies have died, but that's okay, because we can just, you know, resummon them one after the other. Careful that we should not die, of course. Alright, we've got some elite here. Alright, so we're down to 6 with zombies. We need to summon some more. Oh, whoa. Alright. So this is the only bad thing to this game, is the lag. But of course, thankfully, we don't really need to get close to the close as much as possible to all of the monsters. So we really won't die that much. So another good chunk of mobs here. So it's pretty interesting. Whoa! So it's pretty interesting. These minions are, you know, you guys should definitely give this build a shot. Excuse me, I burped. Alright, so I think that's about it for me, guys. I've discussed everything, so thank you so much for watching. If you guys enjoy the content, please like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I'm gonna see you guys on the next part of my video. Have a good one. Potential of getting items or good loot is very high. Now, of course, as you can see there, I was lucky enough to get one Exalted Orb, and that is only one of the many advantages of farming this map.